And away we go. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Wherever you happen to be in the world today, welcome one and all to Coffee Talk. It is time once again for Coffee Talk Live, where we will be having some discussion about what is going on in the world today. We will take a look at some clips for the news, have a little bit of dialogue with those of you who are able to join us for the live portion. And if you are listening somewhere else and you also would like to join the live portion, you can find us Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, on Coffee Talk and Prepper University, at Coffee Talk Live and at Prepper University. You can find me on X at Coffee Talk Chat. You can find me on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta as we get ready to jump off here. Naturally, I do read through as many of the comments as is reasonable for the benefit of those of you who are listening and not able to see what is going on. And I'll say hello to some of the people that have chimed in so far. Jane is here, says, yeah, Biden and Jake Paul boxing. Yeah, that is my my thumbnail for the day. Helter is here. Puck is here. Dragon is here. John Boy. Brian. And Jane is talking about Cop City, Atlanta will be done by 2026. Going to build one in Nashville, Tennessee in a few years. Yeah, they've been trying to get that off the ground for a while. JJ is here. And Fluke Man as well. I've got Miss Kitty joining me in the background. No other felines in the room, I don't believe, but Miss Kitty is sleeping in the chair behind me. Special thanks to Bo. Bo sent a silver coin to our P.O. box, as well as something for the cats. Much appreciated, and we do stack silver. We don't have much, but we do. It's something I can advise other people to try and do as well if they're able to. And Mark, who sent 2 bags of cat food to the P.O. box as well. That helps a lot with taking care of the felines. We go through cat food like no tomorrow. Now, since we're on the subject of the Tyson fight, again, that was my thumbnail, is Jake Paul versus Joe Biden. I don't know if anyone caught wind of this yet. It's something else to be angry about. This is Total Pro Sports here. It says social media is losing it after seeing the $2 million ringside seats at the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight. And here's one of the people that's sitting in those ringside seats there. Yeah, ringside seats were $2 million for that fight. Can you imagine paying $2 million to sit ringside for that? Can you imagine? This fight was huge. It was huge for, once again, an exhibition fight. And Cyberjack Sr. has joined us. It was an exhibition fight, as well as John. John has joined us today. And everybody was wanting to be all nostalgic about it and say, yeah, Mike is coming back. Mike is done. Mike is part of the late 80s and early 90s. He's one of the icons of that time period, but he's not anymore, and he can't do it anymore. It was an exhibition fight. People lost their shit over this. They absolutely lost it. They were so mad. But can you imagine being the guy who sat ringside for $2 million, or one of the many who paid $2 million to sit ringside? Netflix cleaned up 70,000 spectators in attendance, 60 million streams going out from Netflix. Monkeys joined us. Glad you could make it. I could think of better things to spend $2 million on. Even if I had Elon Musk's money, I'd sit there and say, $2 million for a ringside seat? You're going to be kidding. No way. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. And the irony of the modern age, I don't know if it's pictured. Let me see. I'm going to scroll down here. See if I can find it. Let me play. Pause this right here. Hold on a second. Do you see what they're doing? Do you see what they're doing? Jane says that's too expensive for a boxing match. Rock concerts cost like $200, and I think that's horrible. That's too much. And the closer you get at the concert, or if you get backstage anything, that goes up as well. I've heard of people getting gouged for as much as between 10 to 12,000 on concert tickets now. It doesn't make any sense. New York Patriot has joined us, and Dragon says the guy paid $2 million to watch the fight. Meanwhile, he stares at a shattered phone screen, and there's screens down on the bottom. So you're paying $2 million to sit there and watch a television screen on the bottom of the ring, because he wasn't. I saw some shots from this, not just him, but the other handful of people that are around the ring that paid those prices. They're watching the screen. You could have done that at home. You could have had a little watch party at home. You didn't have to pay $2 million to sit ringside and you're not looking in the damn ring. Oh, Helter says Guinness record for money wasted on the worst thing possible. Incredible. That's what kills me about this. This is what kills me about this. No, I'm not sure what Super Bowl tickets are going for right now. But remember, the closer you are, the more it costs. The higher it gets. The higher it gets. And I just wanted to share that really quick. I thought that was absolutely bonkers. There's no way. I couldn't fathom it. It feels to me irresponsible to spend money that way. I don't have a problem with people being wealthy. I don't have a problem with it. Bill Gates, he's a billionaire. Fine. That's fine. I don't care. Don't tell me how to live. That's my issue with Bill Gates. But still, I don't think, even if you have a lot of money to burn, I don't think you should be irresponsible with it. I'd rather see the guy be a miser and penny pinch and still have millions and billions of dollars. And everybody says, what's his problem? Well, don't worry about it. At least he's not wasting it. And Tuck has joined us. And Puck says, a fool and his money are soon parted. Indeed. Indeed. That just cracked me up. Speaking of being foolish, we may as well jump to the Middle East while there still is one. While there still is one. And I don't know why nobody understands. How come this always happens? I've been reading stories like this for a year. Okay? About the Middle East. This happens in Africa too. Happens in Africa as well. New York Patriot says disposable income. Yeah, there's a limit though. In my opinion, there's a limit. This is going to be a BBC News article. Almost 100 Gaza food aid lorries, and for those of you who are not in the UK, a lorry is a truck, violently looted, according to the UN. Violently looted. A convoy of more than 100 UN aid trucks, lorries, carrying food was violently looted in Gaza on Saturday, according to the UN. And when they say violently looted, they mean like pirates, like explosives and machine guns and hundreds of people pouring out of the desert. It says 97 lorries were lost and their drivers were forced at gunpoint to unload their aid after passing through. That is, they left the Israeli-controlled Kerem Shalom crossing with southern Gaza in what is believed to have been one of the worst incidents of its kind. Eyewitnesses say the convoy was attacked by masked men who threw grenades. UNRWA Commissioner General Philippe Lazarny did not identify the perpetrators. They had masks on. But he said the total breakdown of civil order in Gaza meant it had become an impossible environment to operate in. It's been impossible. This happens all the time. This happens all the time in the Middle East. This happens all the time in Africa. This happens all the time. Any that you send aid to that is a third world situation that is operated by warlords. They are going to raid your convoys and they're going to steal your supplies every time. Why are you still sending aid in there? It never gets there. It never makes it. It always gets stolen. This has been going on in the Gaza for over a year. You leave the occupied section, there's no military convoy, there's no checkpoints. You left the last checkpoint where Israel is, and you're out in the open. Oh, warlord time. This always happens. Why are you doing it? Money to burn. Money to burn. Brian says he hates spending more money than he has. You shouldn't. Yeah, you shouldn't. Brian also says, I hate people who constantly try to sell you something or only care about doing something for a cost. But this is a terrible waste of essentially taxpayer money that comes from all over the world, mostly from the United States, the US, the UK, France, Italy, Spain, everybody who poured money into this. Oh, let's help the poor people in Gaza. No, they're not going to get any help. Are you going to send fully armed details to convoy the entire thing to where it's supposed to go and pray that once it gets there, those people don't get robbed? There's no way. This happens every time. This has been going on forever in the Middle East, in Africa, in Asia, in South America, anywhere that's third world stricken, that is operated by warlords. This is what's going to happen. And they still don't learn the lesson. They still want to put on a show. Oh, look, we're sending aid to Gaza. Aren't we holy? Paint a halo on my head. Glue some wings on my back. I'm from the UN and I'm here to help. No, it never gets there. You never help anybody except for those warlords who turn around and sell that shit. Seriously, whose side are you on? This is foolish. This is foolish. You're better off not sending any aid at all than to have it constantly stolen. And of course, the truckers, to my understanding, were not harmed. But why would you? If you killed those truckers, A, you probably won't get another convoy, or B, if there was one, that detail will be heavily armed and you're not going to pull off a raid. Puck says they wouldn't be in this situation if they made an effort to be civilized. Oh, wow. Monkey says that's how pirates were in the 16 and 1700s. When the Europeans went to the Caribbean, pirates raided the ships that had no way to protect itself. Of course. It's not like in the movies. You don't want a big bloody battle. You don't. You want your ship to be half sunk so that you could steal from another ship and like 20-30% of your crew dead. There's no profit in that. There's no profit in that. You don't pick those kind of fights, and neither would they. This is stupid, and it happens over and over and over again. And they act like they don't learn the lesson. Go ahead and call me unhumanitarian. If I was in charge, I wouldn't send anything down there. Those people are starving. Yeah, well, they're not going to get it anyway. They're not going to get it anyway. They never do. And they don't learn the lesson, or they don't care. They don't care. It's more important for them to put on a show. Oh, look how humanitarian we are. Look how we try to help. And it's more important for them to waste your money. Because that's money donated to them from everywhere. It's either donated or it's tax money pledged out of some government. Probably us. Probably us. Incredible. Incredible. What is it that Forrest Gump said? Stupid is as stupid does. And Puck says that's Islamists being Islamists. And the thing is, a lot of that in that region of the world, that's cultural anyway. That's cultural. Read your Bible. King King David did that. He was in charge of a band of raiders that would go around and steal. It's just cultural for them. New York says, this is why I feel as though being an isolationist isn't a bad thing. There's nothing. I can't fault you, New York Patriot. Monkey says, you're not unhumanitarian. You know how the culture down there works. Can't use first world methods on third world countries. Nope. And they don't understand. They either don't understand or they don't want to. They know how it works, and it's still just business as usual. This is the act that we're going to put on. I can't believe they're all that stupid. I can't believe it. I think they count on everyone else not understanding the cultural dynamic. I think that's what it is. But yeah, they can get mad if they want to. If I was in charge, they wouldn't get a grain of rice. You don't like it, you sort yourselves out, and then you come talk to us. As we shift here, we're going to jump from the Middle East to New York City. New York City, and this is a New York Daily News article. You may have seen this. This has been coming. I didn't want to talk about it until it was officially voted in, though, and that is the MTA now approves a $9 a day congestion pricing as a race to beat the clock on Trump kicks into gear. This is something that Trump is very much against in New York because people in New York are gouged badly enough already. So here we go. The MTA, and that's the Mass Transit Authority, board voted 12-1 to approve Governor Hochul's modified congestion pricing plan on Monday, effectively reviving the controversial toll ordained to fund system improvements. This is a hopeful moment, MTA Chairman Janno Lieber said ahead of the vote. It shows that New Yorkers, we collectively can take on and address big challenges that we're facing. The plan, and listen to what bullshit this is, the plan, which was announced last week in an end run to Hochul's 5-month pause, will start with a 40% discount over the plan approved by the MTA's board in March. That initial plan would have charged motorists a $15 base toll to drive into Midtown or Lower Manhattan, the revenue from which was to back $15 billion in bonds for the MTA's capital, which they don't have the money because their funds have been borrowed against for other programs in New York, like the migrant industrial complex. Hochul's new plan will start the tolls 40% lower for 3 years. That's $9 a day for most motorists, before ramping up to a full $15 by 2031. Tolls will start on January 5th, 2025. So basically what's happening here is they're installing another toll in New York because there's already a shit ton of them. Another one, and if you want to get into Manhattan now, you're going to have to pay an extra $9 to drive through there. What's that going to be like? What's that going to be like for the person who has to work in Manhattan and has to go in there every day and pay $9 a day extra to go to work? They're going to pay an extra $45 a week, and it's going to go up every year until 2031 until it hits $15 a pop, so they can drive to work every day. That's insane. That's insane. As we catch up here, Fluke Man says, plus the bad guys get a hold of the supplies, get bigger bargaining chips, and they'll become older. Puck says it was 15. Yeah, it's been put back on the books. Dragon says delivery trucks will charge more. Restaurants will have to up the prices on menus. Customers will pay more. Grocery stores will cost more. Yeah. Helter says all it's going to do is make traffic worse, as everyone is now going to avoid Manhattan and make the Bronx and Staten Island more congested. Raccoon is here. New York Patriot says he works for transit. There isn't even a metric in place for employees to not get charged. Mismanagement at its finest. That's interesting. That's interesting. And Monkey says that's carpooling waiting to happen. Most of them probably already are. They probably already are. And it's borrowing from Peter to pay Paul too. This is a way for them to put more money into the MTA, but the money that the MTA should have went somewhere else. This is how Chicago got in trouble years ago when the National Lottery Commission cut them off and wouldn't let them sell tickets. I've talked about that before because I was living in Illinois when it happened. The money from the tolls is supposed to go to the Highway Commission, but they weren't getting it. They weren't getting it because that money went somewhere else. And so the state let them borrow against the lottery funds. And then the people weren't getting paid. The people who were supposed to get their regular stipend from the Lottery Commission, they weren't getting their checks. And so the Lottery Commission was like, if you're not paying these people, then we're not going to let you sell any more tickets until you get it sorted out, which it took them, I think, like 4 months. But they borrow from one agency to give money to another, to give money to another. That's ridiculous. And Monkey says taxi services will be more costly. That could be. That could be. But that's, again, instead of managing things, this is always my argument about government. And there's the chief of the MTA, and there's Governor Hochul looking all happy about screwing everybody over, because this isn't their problem. This is yours if you live in New York. If you have to go in and out of Manhattan, this is your problem. They don't give a shit. Hochul doesn't care. She don't love you. I'm sorry. She don't love you, New York. She wants to take a bite out of that big apple, and she's not going to put it back. This is what government does. They misuse and mismanage funds, and rather than trying to fix the problem, they find a way to get more money out of you. Taxes, fees, regulations, tolls in this case. They just find another way to take a few dollars here and there and everywhere instead of fixing the problem. New York Patriot says, I wonder what the excuse is going to be in 10 years when they run out of money again and have to up the tolls. I wouldn't even give them 10 years the way they're blowing through money, especially in New York City. Especially with the migrant industrial complex in full swing, at least for now. We'll see how that looks a year from now, actually. We'll see how that looks a year from now. But New York, being a sanctuary city, Hochul is going to give Trump a really hard time about that. But that's where a lot of that money is being diverted to. Brian says the money goes to the general fund and then they spend it however they please, plus on a lot of the tolls owned by foreign investors now. Some tolls, I'm not sure about New York City, but yeah, tolls in a lot of places are subcontracted, and many of them are operated by foreign entities, and that should not happen. That should not happen. Puck couldn't imagine living in New York City. Me either. And I didn't grow, I've only been in New York once, and not even for that long. But I grew up on the East Coast. I grew up in Boston. So, I mean, I get it. And Boston looks like a total hellhole now, too. All of these cities. Puck wants to know how many millions have been spent persecuting Trump. More than I could imagine, I'm sure. Hey, remember that guy that New York DA. What's his name? The district attorney in New York. His salary is crazy. His salary is crazy. I think it's the Manhattan district attorney, right? Let me see here. Yeah, he gets damn near $200,000 a year. The Manhattan district attorney. It starts at $169,224 per year. Manhattan district attorney's salary. Here you go. I'll throw it up there so you can see what I'm talking about. New York Patriot says New York City was awesome in the 90s. Alvin Bragg, thank you. I couldn't remember his name. But there you go. $169,224 per year, or the equivalent hourly rate of $81 per hour. $81 per hour. It says the average annual salary for an assistant district attorney anywhere else is between $72,000 to $127,000. Must be nice. It must be nice. I am in the wrong line of work. I should be out there scamming somebody. I should be out there scamming people instead of just trying to earn an honest living. I'd be rolling in dough. Oh my God. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to live that way. I don't need that on my conscience. I don't need that in the scales, because all of us are going to be held accountable at some point. All of us will be held accountable at some point. We'll have to answer for our deeds in life. Puck says Alvin Bragg makes a lot more than that through some questionable side hustles. Yeah, I mean, that's just the actual salary from New York State itself, or Manhattan, as it were. But yeah, I know there's other money that he gets. Patriot says just become a Democrat. Oh, God. Oh, no. Fox News article. You'll get a kick out of this. Anyone here from Canada today? Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says that Canada could have acted quicker on reining in immigration. You think so, huh? Canadian Prime Minister Justin Castro, said the federal government in Canada could have acted quicker to rein in the massive influx of migrants entering the country following the C virus pandemic. Trudeau's remarks came during a nearly 7-minute video he posted online over the weekend, during which the Prime Minister laid out the reasons why Canada was putting limits on its temporary foreign workers program, while also reducing the number of permanent residents allowed to enter into Canada by as much as 27% by the year 2027. Trudeau largely blamed bad actors such as corporations and universities for enticing immigrants to come to Canada, where there was a massive labor shortage following the pandemic. You lying pile of shit. Unbelievable. So here's the thing. Just like in the United States, but not nearly as bad as in the United States, okay? There's a huge influx of illegal immigration going into Canada. So, he's going to blame universities and corporations for illegal immigration into the country. And 2, his solution is to interfere with people who are actually legitimate seeking residency and people that are on foreign worker programs who have permits, rather than dealing with people who are coming across the border illegally. Brilliant. Just wanted to make sure I understood. Puck says Justin Castro worried about the winds of change in Canada. Yeah, Canada with a K. New York Patriot says he's talking smack now because Polarive is probably going to win. Dragon says he's the primary bad actor and knows exactly what he did, which was to suppress wage growth for Canadians while keeping the housing bubble propped up. And the housing bubble there is insane. I mean, what's a house going for there? Like $2 million now? Helter says he and his Liberal government publicly called every Canadian that had concerns regarding his immigration policies racist. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And now he wants to complain about it. He wants to blame other people. There's some finger pointing from Trudeau there. Oh, it's because of these universities. It's because of these corporations. No, I can't do a Trudeau voice because I don't know what he sounds like. I don't think I've ever actually, I basically read all of these. I rarely watch a video clip. So I can't really do a Trudeau voice, but I imagine it's really snivelly and whiny and wet. But despite that, his solution, again, is to crack down on people that are there legitimately to work, who have permits, because it says temporary foreign worker programs, right? And then reducing the number of permanent residents allowed entry into Canada. So people that are coming there to assimilate, not just to get a check. There you go, Puck. He says, Justin sounds like Kamala. I'm going to fix what I did. Exactly. I'm going to fix what I did.
Looking back, when the post-pandemic boom cooled and businesses no longer needed the additional labor help, as a federal team, we could have acted quicker and turned off the taps faster,
Trudeau said in his video message. Oh my God. Incredible. Incredible. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's his solution, folks. Good luck, Canada. I wish you luck. You're going to need it. You want to borrow Trump when we're done with him? Maybe we can send, maybe Trump can run for president or prime minister in Canada after we're finished. We'll let you borrow him for a little while and he can work some of that out. Here is your bullshit news of the day. This is the distraction news that we're going to try to sidetrack you with by making it out to be more than it is. And this is a Latin Times article. Masked neo-Nazi march on Ohio Capitol in open display of hate as terrified residents rush to lock their doors. A group of masked neo-Ns, I don't even know if I can say it, neo-ninjas, we'll call them ninjas. A group of masked neo-ninjas carrying swastika flags marched through a Columbus, Ohio neighborhood on Saturday as residents hurried to lock their doors. The group, consisting of about a dozen individuals dressed in black with red skull masks, shouted racial slurs and slogans of white supremacy in the arts district known for its restaurants and gallery. Okay, I didn't know there was even a dozen, because every photo or video that I've seen, it looks like there's 6 or 7 of them. That's a video clip of them right there. I don't see more than 7 people in that clip. So they got out of a vehicle, I guess. Speculation there, because I don't know how it started. Got out of a vehicle or something and marched down one city block and disappeared. Okay, basically that's what happened. But apparently the neighborhood was terrified and they ran home and locked their doors. Ran home and locked their doors. Raccoon says people say Yahtzee instead. Okay. Okay. I have no idea. I just wonder because, I get in enough trouble on ScrewTube for just reading news articles. Puck says masked Yahtzees, you mean federal employees. And Dragon says when the FBI needs to create a problem, they create a problem. This was totally staged. I seriously doubt that seeing, because they say a dozen. Again, every photo or video that I've seen, it's like 6 or 7 of them. So, okay, half a dozen of them walked down a block and disappeared back into whatever vehicle they got out of. I'm not intimidated. I'm not impressed. It was a stunt for publicity. Fluke Man says, were they even ninjas or left-wing infiltrators? That's a good question. And Helter says that this is just the beginning. Wait until January 20th. I know, because they're trying to create a connection. I doubt people were that terrified. I mean, I don't know. Most Westerners are probably that weak and wet and scary anyway. Is it a legitimate group? Has anyone claimed it? I haven't heard about anybody claiming this. And usually when something like that happens and it came from a legitimate group, they'll claim it. Hell, they'll get a permit from the city to do it. Every time the Triple K does anything, they get a lawful permit. They don't hide anything. Why would this group hide anything? You see what I'm saying? Yeah, it's totally staged, I'm sure. This is for show. This is propaganda. And I doubt the people were that scared. I would hope not. I would hope they were not that scared, because nothing really happened. Nothing really happened. Anyways, but yeah, that's your distraction news. Now that people are about done talking about the Tyson fight and being disappointed, Brian says, how often do we even hear about? I mean, yeah, you really don't hear anything about them. They're not looking to get in, they're just looking for attention. Is this article going to do right? Trying to get the next article open, it's acting wonky. As I set this up, this is going to be an article. Business and politics. If it'll let me open it up without too much of a hassle here, Restream anytime now. Puck says it's not even an official Nancy flag. It's low-budget fakery. Well, they're new. It's new and improved. New and improved. That's what they're doing. Yeah, Restream is acting weird. Here we go. This is more celebrity BS, and this kind of frustrates me a little bit here, and I'll tell you why. It says William Shatner puzzled as to why Kamala lost with the great economy goes around, and he goes back and forth with Bill Maher. All right, so actor William Shatner revealed he may have been in outer space as Americans delivered a resounding election victory for President-elect Donald Trump. The Star Trek legend spoke with comedian and talk show host Bill Maher on his Club Random podcast, admitting he had no idea why Vice President Harris was left in the dust by Trump, who scored the electoral and popular votes, as well as sweeping swing states Democrats were sure they would have won. The 93-year-old actor was dealt a severe reality check on social media after he displayed his ignorance in the interview with Maher. The host laid out how Democrats, and that would be Bill Maher, have a bad attitude, which is one of the reasons they lost the election, and Shatner pushed back. I don't know why Democrats lost, he says. I don't understand. Prices have come down. The economy is good. I don't know why they voted against her, against the party. Why isn't she a great candidate? She combined several trends of thought here, black and women, according to Shatner. Oh wow. Oh wow. I gotta close the article because of restream. But I'll get back to these. And all people suggest the Yahtzees are government agents. Yeah, and that William Shatner must have senility. No, he does not. He does not have senility because he also backed Hillary both times. He's on board with that, unfortunately, which is one of those things. I mean, I like Shatner. He's a legacy actor, but I don't want to hear his political rhetoric. I don't want to hear it. And he was on board with Hillary both times. He's really cemented into this idea that it'd be really amazing and progressive if a woman was president. And that's why he said that. She's a woman and black. How could she lose? I don't understand. The economy is great. For who, William? Who is the economy great for? We don't all live on a 360-acre ranch in Kentucky, Mr. Canadian William Shatner, who is not an American citizen, as far as I know. Is he? Someone answer the question. As I understand it, as a matter of fact, since he started his acting career, the only time he's even been back to Canada is for the occasional sci-fi convention or comic convention that he was paid to attend. He lives here, he votes here, but like most celebrities, he is so far out of touch with what it's like for the common individual, for the common man, as it were. We don't want to hear his opinions. It's just like with Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone endorsed Trump. Okay, that's cute, but Sylvester Stallone, his world and my world are not the same thing. I don't care who he endorses. I don't care who Sylvester Stallone endorses. I don't care who the hell William Shatner endorses. At least Stallone can vote in America. And again, hopelessly out of touch with the reality that we all have to live with. And I think it's a 360-acre ranch in Kentucky, which he could not afford to do in Canada. But he wants the United States to be like Canada. And Daniel has joined us. Glad you could make it today. New York Patriot says George Takei is even worse. Yes, he is. George Takei is nuts. He is absolutely bonkers. All people said Shatner's an idiot if he wants to believe that Shamala is black. He's got some things to say about that. I'll leave it up there on the comments for you all to read, because obviously she's not really. She's not. She's all mixed up, but she's hardly black by definition. Hardly. Uh, oh man, Raccoon says I'm glad Sly backed to Trump though. He's one of my favorite actors. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I mean, Sylvester Stallone's life and my life, it's not the same thing. So whoever he endorses, it doesn't matter to me because no decisions that the president makes is going to affect him or Shatner. They'll be nice and safe. They'll be fine. Puck says, didn't Shatner murder his wife? That was never proven. The story is that he found her face down in his pool. And and I even heard it years ago, you can find on the internet the 911 call with him freaking out into the phone that he came home and found her in the pool. I don't know if he was ever even on trial. So, and I don't know if he killed her or not. I have no idea. Naturally, a lot of people speculate about that. But it just frustrates me to see these people. They just got to cram their opinion down your throat. And then Bill Maher tried to correct him by saying that, her color and her gender are not criteria for presidency or anything. That's completely social politics. and which, of course, Bill Maher, you can't trust him either. Bill Maher, he saw the winds of change coming more than a year ago and flipped his direction back then. He was ahead of the curve. He was ahead of the curve on that. Raccoon says, I thought it was the Beretta guy who found his wife in the pool. I think the guy from Beretta she was over the side of a boat, right? It's hard to remember. Hard to remember. New York Patriot says she wasn't even middle class. Her father, yeah, she come from a very wealthy family. Her father inherited money and land from his family's slave trade, and her mother was descended from the Brahmin elite class in India. Not only that, but her mother was also a very prominent scientist who was very well paid, very well paid. She wanted for nothing. She wanted for nothing growing up. All people suggest that Bill Maher is a fraud. Of course he is. Of course he is. And D-Lo has joined us. Glad you could make it here today, D-Lo. Thanks for popping in. Stupid news of the day. More proof that I'm in the wrong line of work. Here is your stupid news of the day. I really don't know anything about this person, but this article caught my attention. Hip Hop Vibe magazine. Megan Thee Stallion, for some reason, "the" has to have two E's in it. Megan Thee Stallion allows fans allegedly to touch her backside for $20,000. So when she sits for these photo ops, you can grope her for 20 grand. All People says the Beretta guy's wife was shot in the head and found in the parking lot of a restaurant where they had just eaten lunch. Okay, I can't remember. Somebody fell off a boat. Somebody's wife. Was it the guy from Heart to Heart? Was it his wife fell off the boat? Some of these stories, they merge together. Megan Thee Stallion allegedly lets fan touch her rear end for $20,000. Megan Thee Stallion has become the latest, and there it is, artist. No, she is not. She is not an artist. None of them are. She is a musical performer to do concert meet and greets. They all do it. Obviously, artists of all genres have been doing meet and greets ever since concerts have been prominent. However, every artist comes along and adds something unique to this. After all, each artist, there it is again, interacts with their fans in different manners. As a result, a unique fan experience is provided. Good Lord, a unique fan experience. This is the kind of guy who gets the $2 million seat at the Tyson fight. That's who that is. Jane wants to know if Megan's a stripper. No, she's a hip hop performer. She speaks into a microphone to bad AI generated music with auto tune. Tuck suggests she had implants. I have no idea. All People says, yes, Natalie Wood was Heart to Heart guy's wife, drowned on a boat where Christopher Walken was a guest. Okay, that's what I was thinking of. Tuck says, I thought the guy from Hogan's Heroes lost his wife in a boating accident. No, Hogan's Heroes is the guy that allegedly, I got to be careful, allegedly erased himself, but a lot of people think that it was orchestrated, if I'm remembering that right. Dragon says, I wouldn't be surprised if she went around claiming she was sexually harassed by those who were allowed to cop a feel. No, they paid. They probably signed a contract. And all that's high-class prostitution. Hey, $20,000 a pop, and she didn't even have to sleep with him. I mean, if you're going to throw down that kind of money, you may as well get the full service. Shit. That's OnlyFans 2.0 right there. Holy crap. Holy crap. All People says Megan the Pig should go back to the Caribbean with Cardi B and Shamala. Unbelievable. This just throws me off. This is like that article I read a year ago, I think. About a year ago. A year ago with the woman who farts in jars. and sells the jars online, and people buy them. She's making like 50,000 a month. It doesn't make any sense. Sean says, what is the motivation to call her an artist over and over again? That comes from the reality music shows, Sean. All those reality TV shows like The Voice and everything, everybody's an artist. They go, oh, the next artist and this artist and that artist. And now we've gotten in the habit of anyone who's in music, we refer to them as an artist now, but they're not. They are neither artistic or original or talented in many cases. They're not creating anything. They're not creating. They're not creative. They're musical performers. This is the sideshow. It's like when you went to, they don't have really, are there still circuses out there for real? I don't even know, because I know that the circus life is going away. But you had your circus and you've got your carnival. In the circus, those people are artists. You've got real performers who practice all day long at their trade, whatever it is, juggling, doing acrobatics, whatever they're doing. It's a lot of work and a lot of dedication. That's an art. Then you've got the carnival. This is your sideshow. I look weird, so I'm going to sit here and you'll pay me to look at me. I've got 3 arms. Pay $2 to see the guy with 3 arms. You see what I'm saying? There's no talent there at all. It's a freak show, and that's what this is. That's what modern music is. It's a damn freak show. Unbelievable. All People says Hogan's Heroes guy was blackmailing a lot of women. Some were married. He plied with alcohol and seduced and filmed, and then he mysteriously died. Yeah, there's some weird stuff there. Fluke Man said she'll claim she was assaulted in a few months. The DA and judge will dismiss the contract and wreck that man's life. And Puck said, should we be prepping for World War III? You should be prepping for World War III all the time, whether it comes or not, and regardless of what Biden did. And there's Country Living. Glad you could join us. And Sean thinks it's very annoying as I catch up a couple here. Jane says I'd go to State Fair and go through the tent with the freaks. Puck likes black women, but she ain't all that. Oh, no. You guys. Jane says why is the guy wasting $20,000 to touch a woman? If he's got that kind of money to throw around, like I said, for a lot less than that, he could get the full service operation with someone who looks a lot better, I'm sure. Oh my God. But yeah, we've got to really get out of the habit. That's a huge pet peeve of mine. Add it to the list. I've got a long list. People calling these musical performers in the modern era artists. They are not. They are not. It's absolutely incredible to me that goes on. Local article coming up. Another attempt to infringe on the Second Amendment. And this is a WSB 2 article at length, because that's where this is happening. And is another attempt. It probably will not, but I just wanted to throw it out there anyways. If the article's up, I think there's an ad on here, and I think it's messing up Restream, which, yeah, thanks Restream. And, you know, if I did switch over at the end of the contract and go back to StreamYard, lawmaker proposes a $1 million liability insurance for assault weapon owners. If you can tell me even what that is. So there you go. There you go. State Representative Mary Margaret Oliver, who is a Democrat, obviously, is proposing a new law for Georgia gun owners for the 2025 season that would require them to have liability insurance to own assault-type weapons. According to an announcement for Oliver's office, the proposed legislation is aimed at addressing the risks of owning assault weapons by requiring gun owners to be financially responsible for damage or injury caused by their firearm. If an individual decides to purchase and own an assault type weapon, Georgia law should require that they insure the weapon for damage that it may cause. I want the insurance industry to help us define the risks and costs associated with assault weapon ownership and work towards prevention of misuse. This is a common approach that encourages responsibility and accountability, and it has the potential to reduce violence and improve public safety. Oh, you silly bitch. Oh my God. And the fact that she even believes that, if she does, and it's not just something that she's doing for show. $1 million liability insurance, how much is that going to cost? Most people can't even afford regular life insurance. They can't even afford enough life insurance to pay for the damn burial, let alone $1 million liability insurance for assault style weapons. And what is an assault style weapon? Can you clearly define that? No, you can't. No, you can't. They never can. Oh, it's black. It must be an assault style weapon. Something like that, right? Oh my God. Seriously. And how much is that going to cost? How much is that going to cost? How do you define it? And liability for who? Anyone who misuses it, they're going to misuse it on purpose, not by accident. You think you're going to get any insurance out of them? Meanwhile, the rest of us are stuck with it, right? For what? This is just an intimidation tactic to try to get people to give up on ownership, is all that is. Tuck says, I'll have to close the article out. It's acting funny. Tuck says, I wonder which insurance company bribed her to push that trash. There you go. And Puck says, how about $100 million insurance policy for judges and politicians who release murderous criminals back into society? Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? But that's not going to happen because they're not held liable. They're not held liable. And then if you could sue the federal government, the city, the state, the county, because stuff comes up. For example, let's say you're wrongfully arrested. They break into the wrong house and they kick your ass and they cart you off to jail. It turns out you're innocent. Or they, like I said, they went to the wrong house. And you turn around and you sue the city. Who's that hurting? The police department? What are you going to get? A couple of officers with a temporary suspension, and then your settlement to be paid for with tax dollars. That's how that works. Brian says, some liberal girl at my job defined a military-grade weapon as a weapon that can destroy a deer. There are weapons designed for military use. She also said an AR-15 is military-grade. Is it? You can kill a deer with a slingshot. Sean says the original Lloyds of London underwriters are turning in their graves right now. No kidding. No kidding. I doubt that will ever fly. But just the audacity to suggest something like that or to think that something like that even has a possibility, to me, is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I get sick of all these attempts to discourage ownership. I can't imagine that ever passing. I can't imagine that ever passing. It wouldn't make any sense. Like I said, how do you define it? You can't define what is an assault weapon. If I kill you with a pencil, it's an assault pencil. I mean, seriously. And how much would that cost? How much would that cost? And then you'd have frivolous lawsuits all over the place. And Brian says, does she realize you can't legally buy military-grade weapons? Apparently not. You can get a fully automatic weapon if you have the right licensing and you don't mind the ATF pestering you every 3 or 4 months for the rest of your life. But, there's only a handful of collectors out there that do that. But anyway, with that, we are at the top of the hour, so I'll go ahead and start signing off. Again, you are listening to and or watching Coffee Talk, and you can find the live portion Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube on Coffee Talk and Prepper University. You can also find me on fistfulofradio.com, podcasting out of Atlanta. Still have Miss Kitty sleeping in the chair, nice and comfortable. No other felines in the room, though. We didn't see any today. So thank you, everyone who was able to join us here today. As always, hope you got something out of the conversation. And we